Hey everyone, today I'm going to dive more into Lovable. Now, I've talked about Lovable in previous videos, kind of a general overview. I've talked about some of the applications that I created, and when I created that video, it was a couple of weeks ago, and I had actually gone well beyond what was in that video by the time I actually released it. So I want to continue to do this because I think these applications are going to be more relevant as time goes on, and it's going to allow you to create more actual real-world applications. Now, there is that debate of just creating this as like a prototype, which is good. You can create prototypes, you can create things as you start to think through it as well. But you can also create full applications. You can actually go in and they may not be as accurate as what a web developer would do, but it's a good starting point. And maybe you don't need a full-on, web developer. If it actually works, then great. But I think these tools are going to get better over time. So I can still see the need to have a full web developer. And maybe this will at least help you prove the concept that you can then talk to the web developer about, kind of thing. So let's dive into Lovable. And I want to show you one of the applications that I did not show in my previous video, which was a checklist. And so I'm going to go ahead, and this is a little bit different. So I want to show you what it's looking like. But then I want to dive in and actually talk specifically about this checklist and how I would start to create this checklist as well. So we're logged in, and I've been creating a couple different applications, but the one I want to focus on today is this checklist. Now, inside of this checklist, I'm actually going to go into the public version here, or the preview one. And inside of this checklist, which you can get to, and if you go over to checklist.learningdojo.app, I'll leave a link down below as well. I do have a free trial for you to be able to get to. If you do want to continue beyond that or create more checklists, then it would cost a minimal amount just so I can help with like the hosting and other things like that to be able to maintain this basically. So if you head on over to checklist.learningdojo.app, you can go ahead and take advantage of that. So if you create a checklist and then you come in here, and the purpose of this video is not to sell you on that. If you want to check it out, great. But I want to show you how to create your own version as well. The only reason why I'm even charging is because it does cost to do some of the database stuff as well. So depending on what you're saving, there is that kind of cost, and how many credits you have with Lovable, which we'll talk about, does cost as well. All right, so if I go into this checklist, this is where I can start to create a checklist, like a different things that a new hire would have to do, for example, or like even a current employee, if they need to do something to get a certain job or a promotion or something like that, you can create a checklist. So you can create several different checklists here. And if to create an item, you just go ahead and just add a task, a title, and then how much it's or when it's due, depending on when they start the checklist. So if they start the checklist, you want to have it due in 7 days or 14 days. So you could do that inside of here. Now, when you have these checklists and you've sent them out to people, when you expand this, you can see the overall progress. And there's 3 people that have started the checklist. 2 of them have completed this check mark. 1 of them have not. That's all kind of dummy data there. Now, I do have a way to add a divider here. These are things that I've done little by little. As you start to build these applications, you then say, okay, now do this, now do that kind of thing. Now, I also wanted overall analytics that it would take into all tasks, and you can see like the breakdown of completed versus pending across all different tasks, however many tasks there are. And you can see overall how many participants, total tasks as well. And then I prompted the ability to print it out. So you can print it out and you can share it with somebody. If there's tasks overdue as well, how many tasks are overdue. And then overall, the participant, you can see what they've completed it. If they're 67% complete, 33% complete as well. So I have built all these features in little by little, and I've been working for months on this application. And that's, again, part of the reason why I'm charging just a slight amount is to be able to kind of maintain this and to go in and to add more features and to maintain the database and things like that. All right, so overall progress, I can see 33. So that gives me a nice dashboard as well. If I wanted to see a preview of what the checklist is going to look like, I can go ahead and click on that preview. But this is where you can then send the participant link. If you send them that link and you can copy it, they enter in their name and then they enter in their email. So I'm going to go ahead and enter in my email. And then this is where if you have a previous email, or if you're coming back to the link and you put in an email you've already started a checklist with, it will resume that data. So you can see right here, I've already completed this checklist. I've already completed this. This is what it looks like for the learner or for the participant. So this is the outcome. You can send this public link out to people that you want to complete the checklist. They do have the ability to log out, so it can log in as someone else, or that way if they're using a shared computer, they don't, it doesn't show their checklist when the new person logs in. And so you can see that all they have to do when they hover over it is just mark it as complete. Now you can uncheck it as well, and you can see that the progress actually increases or decreases based on what you have checked. So it's as simple as that for the new hire, or as simple as that for the current employee to be able to do that. So through prompts, I was able to say, hey, I want to create a public link, and that public link allows people to log in, keeps track of their name and their email when they come back to it as well, and then it keeps track of their progress. And then once they've completed it, it then goes back into the author. So these are things that I prompted over time. Now, I also wanted to add the ability of this AI assistant, where you could quickly add a bunch of tasks just by separating them on each line. And if you add a dash after that, so if I say task 1 dash description, so that will go into the description here. So this is then going to, if I click on create task, it's going to take each line and create it as a task. I also added the ability to generate more tasks with AI. So it'll create related tasks based on what they already have, what you have already built out, and what I've entered on the top here, and it will generate more tasks for you. So these are just different AI implementations that I said, hey, okay, use ChatGPT to create an AI prompt and allow them to enter in their task and allow them to enter in their description. And those are prompts that I had to do to get this end result here. I also wanted to add a Word document or a PowerPoint and to take that and to look for action items specifically from that Word document and generate that through AI as well. So this is really where I think this is coming into play. Instead of trying to find the unicorn application to fit the need, you can use something like Lovable, Bolt, Replit, whatever you're using to create solutions, custom solutions for you that you can then send out to your learners, you can send out to your employees or something like that. That's really where I think the shift is going to happen. Instead of relying specifically on a vendor for that, go create your own custom solutions, because then you can design it for how you want, basically. And that is really the power of AI, being able to create these custom solutions here. So now I can come in here and I can see the participant. This gives me another view to see like what the participants have done, and then also reset. That's another prompt that I did, is inside of the admin tab, allow me to reset the progress of the person. All right, so let's go in and let's start to build this. And so I'm gonna just close this out and we're gonna build a new to-do list. Now you can come in here and see all the different prompts. For the last one, the progress bar is black, and so I had an image. I want this to be white. So I took a screenshot, put it inside of there, and said, change this. I like to approach it, I mean, you could do this where you have a bunch of different tasks to the AI, and you could say, do this, do this, do this. But I like to approach it little by little, because it's almost like just a Scrum-like approach where you're going in and you're just agile approach is the word I was looking for. It's an agile approach where you're going in and you're just, okay, now do that, now do this, now what it looks like here. So you can't figure it all out, or you can't just prompt everything and have it perfect. You're gonna have to give it instructions little by little. But you have to go in and you have to test it. As you test it, you come up with, okay, now this isn't working, now that's not working. And that's really the best approach that I've seen when I've been working with this. So let's go back in and we're gonna start to create. We're definitely not gonna finish, but we're gonna start to create this application, because in the last video, I showed you just how to do a portfolio. But in this video, I wanna talk to you about creating a full-on application with the database. So let's go ahead and get started. We are going to create a checklist where an admin can log in and create a checklist that they can share with a link, and others can mark it off, and we keep track of progress. So an initial value, I could probably spend a little bit more time on that prompt. The initial one is probably the most important, but I've put in a few different things that are parameters. Parameters are essentially, the prompt will then say, oh, you need this, you need a database, you need this, you need that, and so forth. So what you can provide as far as that initial one would help you tremendously. So let's go ahead and hit enter. And I am going to be using Supabase. Supabase is the connection right here. So it may prompt me to connect to Superbase and create a database basically. So we'll just walk through that. So it's then going to say, okay, it's going to need admin authentication, checklist creation, shareable links. Now, one of the features that I like about Lovable is you can click on chat and you can actually, without using one of because each prompt is going to be one of your tokens. You get 5 tokens for free, and then anything after that you actually have to pay for. But I have 250 a month, and I run out almost every time because of how much I'm doing it. But I do get 5 new ones for free on top of that. So honestly, within the month, I can get another additional 200 or something of new prompts and allow me, or even more than that, and allow me to continue to add to it. So it's not stuck with that 250. But if you chat through it and kind of come up with a plan, then it won't use the prompt until you've implemented it. And as soon as you implement it, then it would actually just implement all of that there. All right, so let's go ahead and see what's happening here. So it's writing the dashboard, and it may take some time to do the initial kind of setup. So you may want to wait for a little bit to have it go through, and I'll walk through each of the steps as we go through here. But I'm going to go ahead and pause and wait for this to finish here. All right, so it is done creating this initial kind of landing page. I didn't define it to do a landing page, so this is where you could come up with, or it creates some kind of weird things to begin with. But there is an admin login right here. You could have the option to view a demo and so forth, and that's fine. But it may give us some like, okay, we need to now connect the database. So we definitely need to do that. It gives us some information like what to refine and what to, if you want to use the chat mode to do that. But let's go ahead and connect the database. And I'm going to go in and connect a project. Now you will have to log into Superbase. And then I'm going to go ahead and create a project here. And let's log in. So this is important information. It'll create a strong password for you. You'll need to create a strong password. I'm going to delete this database just for security reasons after I'm done here. But I'm going to go ahead and click on create new project, or let's say checklist pro. And then let's click on create new project here. It may take a second to create that database. Once it's created, so up here it's setting up the project. Once it's created, I can come back into Lovable and I can connect it inside of Lovable. So let's wait for that to set up, and then we'll come back and we'll connect it inside of Lovable. Some of these initial kind of connections do take a little bit of time. Oh, it looks like it's almost set up, so it's kind of building that right now. Let's see if we can at least connect the project. So I'm going to go in here, and then there's our checklist pro. So let's connect that, and then it's going to connect it here, and you can see that's connected right there, but it's still kind of doing some things in the back end. And now it starts to prompt, okay, now your app is connected. What next? Project dashboard if I wanted to, integration documentation, and so forth. And I'm going to create, let's go into admin login here. And it says right here, need an account, sign up. Now this is a challenge part, is because initially inside of Superbase, when you create an account, it's asking you to confirm the login. So it will send an email to the person and confirm the login. What you can do though is you can turn that initial thing off. So if you go into your checklist and then you go into authentication here, right now, if you go into sign in providers, this is where you can go in, allow new users to sign up. But if you go into email, this is where you then uncheck where it says confirm email. Security reasons, you probably will want to confirm, but you need to set up the emails that get sent out. So there's a couple other things that you need to do there. I'm going to go ahead and just click on save. And now that I've done that, now I won't need to confirm the email. Now there may be an experience, at least when I click on need account setup, there may be experiences where I need to redirect after I log in, redirect them to the login. So I may need to prompt that, but I'm going to go ahead and just say jeffbat@gmail.com. I'm going to go ahead and put in my email. Let's just put in the password and create our account. Now it's logged me in. So in this case, I did not need to, because I turned off the confirm email, I turned that off. It just basically redirected me. I've had it in some situations where it did not redirect me and I needed to prompt it to redirect me. So I just wanted to give you a warning on that. So it gives me this initial thing where I can start to create these different checklists. Now, one thing I've noticed is it doesn't actually write these initial things to a database. So I'm going to come in here. Now that I have the database actually created, I'm going to come in and say, make sure that all checklists are saved inside of my database, ones that are here and ones that I create, so I can log back in at anytime and resume my editing. So this is where I think it's still helpful to understand development concepts. In order to save data, it needs to have a database. In order to create a login, you need to create a user inside of the database. In order to save the data that you create inside of here, you need to save it to a database. So those are things, even like concepts of modals. If I want a little pop-up, I could describe it as a pop-up, or I could describe it as a modal. If you describe it as a modal, then it helps the AI know exactly what you're wanting. So having an understanding of those concepts do help, but it doesn't keep you from doing it. So you could still prompt in your human language. You don't have to create the best prompt or anything like that. You can still prompt how you talk, and it will actually create the concepts, and you can describe it a little bit more. Now, one other thing is when you're creating database stuff, it's going to prompt you with what the database is going to look like. And then you just go ahead and click on apply changes. That initial prompt did take one of my credits. The second prompt of apply changes took up another one of my credits. So anytime it follows up with something, it does take up one of your credits. Now you could follow up by clicking on this link here, and this does let you know where you're at with your monthly credits. If you stay on the free plan, then you're just going to have 5 credits per day. So you could easily get through 5 credits in like a couple minutes of saying, now do this, but at least you're making progress there. If you wanted to create a public link and you wanted to share this out, or you wanted to download this and host it yourself, then that's where you would probably have to come up with the paid account, which I think starts at like $20 a month or something. Okay, so now it is writing to the dashboard. I'm going to give that a second. But as I do that, if I click on something, sometimes it could break it if it's still writing stuff. So I would wait for it to kind of finish before you try to do something like that. Okay, so now it's telling me what it's done. It's done the database integration. So now single sign-on, now sign up with email, all of that should be good to go. If you need to refresh it, you can click on refresh up on the top. If you need to go back to a history, because I've done this in the past where it's completely rewritten a page, and I'm like, no, I didn't want that. You can actually go back and revert back to a certain version if you wanted to as well. If you wanted to preview the whole thing without kind of this list, without the chat on the left, you could click on publish and click on this preview link. If you're ready for people to take it, you could update this Lovable link, which we'll talk about here in a second. Let's go ahead and log in first. So I'm going to enter in my email and because the database kind of got set up, I think I have to sign up again. So I'm going to click on sign up again, and there we go. Because it's now more robust, it doesn't have some sample examples. It now allows you to start creating your checklists. I had to just log in again. And I was able to go into the authentication, and I was able to check that, oh, no users were there. So I had to go in and create the users there. Now I'm going to create my first checklist. So on that checklist, we're going to say checklist 1. We're going to add a description. I'm just going to add some content, and this is item, do this, and some instructions, and then hit create checklist. So now you can see that it's created this checklist. So if I click on view, it's very similar to what I have in my app already. So I have a progress bar up on top that will then increase as I start to mark things off. So if I click on copy share link, and then I go ahead and just open up a new browser window here, you can see that the link is there. What's happening now is when I click on the link, it's not grabbing the participant info. So probably the next prompt I'd want to do is on the share link, make sure that you prompt the person to enter in their name and your email, and then save that information, and then do other things like that, and then pass that information back, and then create an analytics. And so this, hopefully, I don't want to go too deep into this because I'm thinking about creating a full course that covers everything, but at least helps you, hopefully helps you actually see how you can start to create applications, how you can start to integrate a database, how you can start to integrate users, how you can start to create a shareable link, how you can have different things where you come in here and say, okay, now make this a circle, have the description text be a little bit smaller. So those are follow-up prompts that you can start doing. And I just wanted you to get started with actually creating an application inside of Lovable. If you like this video, head on over to my website. Here you can check out full courses covering everything from A to Z in Articulate Storyline 360, JavaScript to be able to customize Storyline as well, XAPI to be able to track, and then Articulate Rise custom SCORM as well. You can also check out all my previous blog posts covering everything learning and development related and tips and tricks inside of Storyline and so forth. You can go up to the search bar and look for something specific there. Also, if you like this video, head on over to my YouTube channel, click the like button, subscribe to my channel, as well as hit the bell notification so you get notified of all future videos as they come out. That really helps my channel, allows me to continue to grow, to reach more learning developers like you, so I can help them become the best learning developers that they can be, to really extend the tools that come out of the box and create some custom solutions that really push this industry forward. That is my goal of this channel. That's all I have for today. So thanks everyone, and I'll see you next time.